you will see this point. He's holding with his palm this, that is basically penetrating here, and this that is penetrating right there at the center of this, which is the brightest star of the sea monster. And this star is called Mira, that means a rebel. So we're going to see the meaning of Pisces according to the Bible. And we go initially to this scripture: worthy is the Lamb that was slain to receive power and riches and wisdom and strength and honor and glory and blessing. So representing the ram right here. And the Bible describes that each tribe had a standard. So when I check the standards, the flags of the tribe of the one that corresponds to Pisces, which is Simeon, it represents either a sword or a couple of swords.
Oh.
So that gives us the real meaning of the constellation of Pisces as two swords that are being put on the monster that represents the adversary. So Aries, representing Jesus Christ, is defeating the adversary, breaking its head with a couple of swords to defeat him. And here is another view of Pisces, the two swords according to the Bible, and the first astronomical prophecy that Jacob is giving to Simeon, and why those are representing the swords. Simeon and Levi are brethren, instruments of cruelty are in their habitations. And if you remember the history, they used their swords to kill all the male of Sichem when they were in the middle of their circumcision. Even when his father, Jacob, had reached an agreement with the father of Sichem, saying that all of them will be of the same belief. They will be like adopting the Jewish religion. But these two brethren of Dinah, which had been the victim of the son of Sichem, decided to kill them all. And Jacob is remembering that and saying, you were cruel. For in their anger they slew a man unto their assembly, my honor be not thou united. And their wrath, for it was cruel. I will divide them in Jacob and scatter them in Israel. But right here is the astronomical prophecy that represents Simeon as the Pisces. And because he's mentioning his brother, Simeon was holding one sword and Levi was holding the other sword. The one that had the idea was Simeon, and the one vertical, Levi, the one that received later on the priesthood. The priesthood, and all the priests are coming from Levi. But here we remember this scripture: thou breakest the heads of the dragons, in the waters thou breakest the heads of Leviathan in pieces. And right here, this is what we can see represented in heaven. Aries is breaking with the two swords the head of Leviathan. So this is fascinating. And then we see in Job the same prophecy: canst thou fill his skin with barbed irons, or his head with fish spears? Is another way to mention the breaking device. In this case, the swords are represented like fish spears. So what I have seen in the constellations is that they are almost like words. They can change a little bit according to the context, but they keep the meaning. And in this specific context, we are seeing Jesus Christ breaking the head of the Leviathan that represents the adversary. And the brightest star of the constellation of Cetus is Mira, that means a rebel, and is a variable star. It disappears periodically 7 times in 6 years. During that period, it passes through several degrees of magnitude, both increasing and diminishing. Diminishing, indeed, its variableness is so great as to make it appear unsteady. This is what Bullinger saw at the end of the 19th century, but now the astronomers with more powerful telescopes are finding that in reality Mira is a double star. So it's a double star that is orbiting one around the other like this, almost like if two girls were holding hands and rotating. And one of the stars is bright, and the other star is dark. So when the dark star interferes, the bright star, it seems as if the intensity were going down. And to see how big is this star that is Mira on the bright star of Cetus on the neck, this is the size of the orbit of Saturn. So you see, you can put inside there the Sun, Mercury, Venus, the Earth, Jupiter and Saturn, and is even bigger. It's even bigger than that orbit of Saturn. And the dark star is a little smaller, but what makes it be like the angel of light when it's totally in luminosity and then hide in darkness is that it's a double star. And this is in the neck of the adversary, represented by the sea monster, Cetus. So we see here one prophecy of Isaiah, which is defeating 3 of the constellations that are out of the ecliptic. And right now, just to remember that there are 2 kinds of constellations. The ones that are on the path of the sun, those are called the signs of the zodiac. And God designed them to last approximately 1 month for the sun in each one of them. Those are the signs of the zodiac. But the rest of the constellations, which are 36, are outside of the path of the sun. And these are 3 that are outside of the path of the sun, but represent the adversary, and Isaiah is prophesying based on those constellations. You can see how many times the prophets were inspired by the meanings of the constellations to bring their messages. That's how the Magi were able to come to Jesus. And right now, I really believe, as we were doing our studies with Jeremiah the last time, that even today, with heavens, God is giving us his point of view, his narrative of the events. In that way, if everybody lies you, the media lies you, the government lies you, God have right there his explanation of what's going on. It's not horoscopes, it's not the control of your destiny or the destiny of nations. It's the point of view of God, of what's going on earth. That's how we read in the Psalm 19, the heavens declare, and the word declare can be translated rehearse the glory of God. And one of his glories is to have the opportunity to let us know what he thinks about what's going on. And even today. So right here we're going to see how Isaiah is prophesying based on those constellations. In that day the Lord with his sword and great and strong sword, the one that is being held by Aries. So Pisces we have discovered by the Bible that represents 2 swords. That's the original meaning. And here he's saying, with his sword and great and strong sword shall punish Leviathan, the piercing serpent, and this represents Hydra. We're going to see later on about this. Leviathan, the crooked serpent, and the one that is crooked represents Draco, the one that is in free falling, like casted out, and it's all curled because it's floating on the air. And he shall slay the dragon that is in the sea. So this is very inspiring and fascinating because it's describing 3. And when we see the 3 planets that are beyond Jupiter, is something that we were studying with Jeremiah. We see that there are exactly 3 planets that represent also the hierarchy or the authorities of the adversary. The first is Satan, Saturn, but the next is the one that represents the spirit of the Antichrist, and that's represented by Neptune. And the other is the one that represents the spirit of the false prophet, and that is Uranus. So that's fascinating. 3 planets representing the adversary, right there in heaven. And Isaiah is focused exactly in 3 constellations that are not in the path of the sun. That may be the description of those 3 representations also of the adversary. The one that is coming out of the sea, out of the people, and receives the spirit of the false prophet, can be representing Cetus. The adversary himself that was casted out can be represented by Draco, and the Antichrist can be represented by this, that is, as Isaiah saw him, the piercing serpent, by the one that can be the king to, with his sword, destroy others. So we're going to see the 5th group, and here the group represents Taurus and Orion, that is hitting the head of the adversary, and Perseus, after this is a sword again according to the Bible, after that he had already the heads of the adversary in his hand, and after that he's resting as the good shepherd. But we know that it's Jesus because right here his heel is being pierced by the upper horn of the bull. And right here we're going to make a break to let you thinking about this and praying and saying, God, what's about Taurus? Is good, is bad, according to this context? We'll see after the break.